Imagine the most valuable library in the world. Not of leather-bound books or digital files, but of clay. Tens of thousands of tablets, inscribed with a fine stylus, then baked hard as stone. This was not the Library of Alexandria. It was older, far older, and its discovery would rewrite our understanding of the ancient world. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is Echoes of the Ancients. Our story begins in the 7th century BC, in the sprawling, dusty capital of the Assyrian Empire, Nineveh. Here, King Ashurbanipal ruled with an iron fist. He was a conqueror, a hunter of lions, and a man possessed by an obsession unlike any ruler before him. He didn't just want to own territory. He wanted to own knowledge itself. He issued a command to his agents across the empire: bring me every text that exists. Every ritual, every omen, every medical prescription, every epic poem, every contract, every royal decree. Copy them, and send the copies to Nineveh. This was the birth of the first systematically collected great library in history, the Library of Ashurbanipal. But the real revolution wasn't the collection. It was the medium, clay. In an age when Egypt wrote on fragile papyrus and others on perishable materials, Assyria and Babylon wrote on tablets of wet clay. A scribe would press a wedge-shaped reed stylus into the surface, creating the distinctive cuneiform script. Then, the tablet would be dried in the sun or baked in a kiln. The result was virtually indestructible. Fire, which annihilates paper, only hardens clay. Water might dissolve the writing if it's unfired, but a baked tablet can survive millennia in the ground. This was the ancient world's most durable data storage system. Ashurbanipal didn't just collect knowledge. He was building a time capsule. And what was inside this capsule? Everything. The library held the administrative mundanity of empire, tax records, inventories, legal documents. But it also preserved the sublime. Most significantly, it held the world's oldest great work of literature, the Epic of Gilgamesh. Before its discovery, Gilgamesh was utterly lost to history. Within Ashurbanipal's library, archaeologists found 12 beautiful tablets telling the entire story: the Wild King, his friend Enkidu, their quest for immortality, and the haunting search for meaning in the face of death. This was a literary bomb. It contained a flood narrative startlingly similar to Noah's story, but written centuries before the Hebrew Bible. Gilgamesh showed us that the deepest human questions about friendship, loss, and our own mortality were being asked in Iraq over 4,000 years ago. The library's end came with the violent fall of Nineveh in 612 BC. A coalition of Babylonians and Medes sacked and burned the city. The royal palace, with its library, was torched. And in a terrible, poetic irony, the fire that was meant to destroy instead preserved. The wooden shelves burned and collapsed, but the intense heat fired the thousands of clay tablets that hadn't been baked, turning them into ceramic. They crashed to the floor and were buried for over 2 millennia, waiting. They were rediscovered in the 1850s by archaeologists, who were astonished at the sheer volume. Over 30,000 tablets and fragments were shipped to the British Museum. Deciphering them was like listening to whispers from a world thought silent. It gave a voice to Assyria beyond the boastful royal inscriptions on palace walls. It gave us their science, their fears, their stories, their daily lives. I think about Ashurbanipal often, here in New York, a city of libraries and digital clouds. His drive wasn't purely academic. It was about control and prestige. Yet, in seeking to own knowledge for power, he ended up gifting it to the future. He understood that clay was forever. In our relentless pursuit of the new, the next, the instantly accessible, we store our collective memory on servers and formats that may become unreadable in a century. But Ashurbanipal's library, you can hold a tablet from it today. You can touch the very fingerprints of the scribe. That's the power of the clay tablet revolution. It was built not for the now, but for the forever. It echoes because it endured. This episode was produced by Light Knot Studios. Find more stories from the deep past at https://www.lightknotstudios.com.